Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. This week we are doing another movie review. This is Countess Dracula, starring Ingrid Pitt and Nigel Green. And this is a Hammer Films production, directed by Peter Sasdy. Believe it or not, this is actually rated PG. But you would never ever know because there's lots of nudity and there's lots of blood. I don't know how they got away with it. But at any rate, the film stars Ingrid Pitt in one of her signature roles for Hammer Films. And I know the film is called Countess Dracula, but that's just kind of a hypothetical, really, the name, because her name is not Dracula and there's no vampires in the movie. It's kind of in a hypothetical sense in the way she preys on young women and kind of feasts off their blood. Not necessarily biting them or anything like a vampire, just kind of bathing in their blood. Using their blood to make her young. So the film is loosely based on the legend of Countess Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess, if you will, who existed like hundreds of years ago, you know. And that's a true story where she murdered, allegedly, like 600 women. But this film, I'd say, is more based on the legend of her than the actual facts of her. Other than the fact that she murdered many young virginal women that worked for her and served her. So what happens in this movie is we begin the film, she's kind of old, and her husband had died, and she's about to inherit the fortune, inherit the estate of her husband. And there's another guy who comes, this dashing young, soldier that her husband served with, who stands to inherit quite a bit of that fortune as well, because they served together in the army. So she's kind of struck with this handsome young lad, but she's too old, And what happens in the film is, and she's a real mean old bat. She's really nasty. She's really brutal to the women that work for her. Some of the maids and some of the servants. She's very, violent and verbally abusive. Physically abusive as well. One girl, she, flips out and snaps while she's holding a knife, and the girl ends up, stabbing herself in the face, and at one point, one of the maids, is making the bath for her, and she forces the girl's hand in the scalding hot water and burns her, She's really vicious, And so it's no secret as to why she becomes the way she does. It's really only just kind of taking the next step for her. She's already nuts, She's already brutal and violent and verbally abusive, physically abusive. So what happens is, when that girl gets some of the blood on the Countess's face, you see part of her face becomes, young, and no wrinkles, the wrinkles are all gone, and it becomes like a perfectly pale face with nice skin, So she's like, wow, we need to find out what's going on. We need to get some more blood. So they visit the young maiden's room, and they get some more of her blood. They kill her, and she gets more of the blood, and bam, next thing you see the Countess Elizabeth. She's beautiful and young with beautiful blonde hair, smoking hot body, everything. As she looks like Ingrid Pitt, of course, who was beautiful and gorgeous at that time. Another part of the plot is her daughter was supposed to have gotten half of the fortune, half of the estate to share with her. But she just has nothing to do with the daughter at all. She kind of stalls her and tries to keep her away. She even sends someone to stall her and keep her away to keep her from coming to the castle. The guy actually kidnaps her, really, and keeps her hostage. This really creepy, nasty dude, you know, who tries to rape her half the time, you know. And her daughter's gorgeous too. And what happens is, now that the Countess is beautiful and gorgeous, she tries to get with the young soldier that served with her husband, because he's a handsome, dashing man, you know. And it works, and it works. She works her magic and gets him under her spell. But what happens is, she starts to get older again. Her face starts to turn old, so we find out that the magic is only temporary, you know. And she finds out that she needs more blood. She has to keep getting more blood in order to sustain her youthful look, you know. So she keeps killing off more of her servants, you know. A couple fortune tellers, a couple, she tries it with a prostitute, though, and finds out that, no, she's got to be pure, and she has to be a virgin. She needs virgin's blood. Yeah, how poetic. So, she strikes again, and she keeps on killing, and keeps on keeping her youthful presence, her youthful looks. So she has to keep killing in order to keep young. And also there's a guy by the name of Captain Dobie, played very well by Nigel Green, who apparently has been in love with her for years, and he's more her age. And she gets him under her spell as well. He's helplessly, hopelessly in love with the Countess. But now that she's young, she wants to go off with a young man, and he's kind of stuck just helping her and getting nothing in return, you know. So it sucks for him. But as in all things, as in real life, these things catch up with you, and things eventually catch up with her. People start realizing that there are dead girls being found left and right in the village, you know. And all signs point to the Countess. The Countess Dracula, if you will. But yes, I absolutely love the film. I think Ingrid Pitt does a fantastic job. It's one of my favorite performances of her, especially in the Hammer films. Of course, she's also been in Where Eagles Dare. She's been in The House That Dripped Blood. She's been in The Wicker Man. And obviously, she's been in The Vampire Lovers, which is probably my favorite performance of her. But yeah, like I said, the film is rated PG, but you see plenty of nudity, including Ingrid Pitt and others, and lots of blood, and I don't know how they got away with a PG rating for this film, but it's one of my favorite Hammer films. I think it's very underrated, and you guys should definitely grab it. And this is a great Blu-ray from Synapse Films. So this is a great Blu-ray with all kinds of great extras. You got some really cool artwork on the inside as well. Really cool stuff. So a lot of great releases from Synapse Films too. They comes with a little booklet on all their releases. But yeah, Countess Dracula from Hammer Films, starring Ingrid Pitt. So that's it, guys. That's my review of Countess Dracula from Hammer Films. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.